It's been a while. We are finally back on a regular schedule on my channel. I am so excited. This week's topic is something that I've been really looking forward to sharing. As you guys know, me and my husband Tanner are officially trying to conceive. We shared that on his channel in a little video explaining just the process of getting to the point of realizing that we were ready to try to conceive. And before I dive into everything that I am doing to hopefully get a successful cycle, I do want to share that there is so much more to trying to conceive than just people thinking that you are doing it all the time. Realistically, there's only one day where you are actually fertile each month, assuming that your cycles are regular. If your cycles are irregular, then you have one day out of multiple months that you could potentially be fertile. So trying to conceive can be a very isolating process because of that. You have basically one day out of each month, and then you're kind of stuck waiting. And we're gonna go over the whole 2-week wait process because I just feel like we are not told or taught enough about our bodies, and one of the most important things that we could do as humans, for it to be such a special thing but not have any knowledge on it, just seems so crazy to me. So I'm here to share everything that I have learned. I've been doing so much research, so I'm going to share what I'm doing to try to conceive. For background information, I was on the depot shot for about a year. Before I got my depot shot, the OBGYN that I was originally going to failed to share with me that after you get the depot shot, your cycles are going to be so irregular for a very long time. I got my last shot June 22nd of 2025, and now it is July 22nd of 2026. I still don't have fully regular cycles. They're slowly coming back, but I tracked my ovulation from February 20th till now, and in that multiple month gap, I have only ovulated one time, and that was last month. I should be approaching my fertile window here soon, so ready to try for the second time, but that is kind of just assuming that my body does what it's supposed to do, so fingers crossed that it does. Something that I have started implementing is this supplement. I just got it off of Amazon. My mom was told by a hormone specialist that this can help with ovulation and like strengthening your ovulation. It doesn't make you ovulate, but when you do ovulate, it is supposed to make it more impactful. So I've started implementing this, and I'm about to start implementing prenatals as well. It doesn't make you fertile necessarily, but if you were to conceive, the baby would be introduced to a very healthy system, technically. I feel like I should also talk about just ovulation as a whole because, again, we just are not taught a lot about it. So it is different for every woman how much time is in between the last day of their period and the day that they ovulate. For me, I don't really know what the normal day would be for me since my cycles are still very irregular. But after you ovulate, there's basically what is called the 2-week wait. I'm sure you guys have seen me post about this. It is a very brutal 2 weeks where you are symptom spotting like crazy because there's really no way of knowing in that 2 weeks if you have conceived or not. And I know that it may sound so stupid to some people that have not experienced a 2-week wait before. It's so easy to think of it and be like, just wait the 2 weeks, it'll be fine. But that is the 2 weeks of like not knowing if your lives are about to literally change forever. And that is also what is called your luteal phase. Your luteal phase symptoms are almost identical to early pregnancy symptoms. So you can have cramping, which your brain automatically starts tricking you into thinking that that is implantation cramping. Your progesterone after you ovulate rises, which like decreases digestion and it can increase nausea, but then it's so hard to try to not assume that you're feeling nauseous because of like morning sickness or like early pregnancy symptoms because you can start to experience those symptoms as soon as your body starts releasing the HCG hormone. The HCG hormone is literally just the pregnancy hormone. That is what pregnancy tests track. Since my cycles aren't super regular, it is really hard to know when I'm going to ovulate. But ideally, if you're trying to conceive and you do have regular cycles, you're supposed to baby dance. You can fill in the blank of what baby dancing would be. But you're supposed to baby dance the day before you ovulate, the day you ovulate, and the day after. It is also really complicated to know when your body actually completes ovulation, and the egg only lives like 12 hours or something like that. Alexa, when a woman ovulates, how long does the egg live for?
An egg survives about 12 to 24 hours after ovulation before your body reabsorbs it.
Reabsorbs it? I didn't know all that. Okay, well, point proven. The egg does not live very long. However, sperm, sorry, we are really getting into it. I'm just trying to share what I know, and I feel like a lot of people don't know, so that's why I'm sharing this. But anyway, sperm can live up to 5 days. So the idea is to have...
I am trying to respond from the right...
Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay. Sperm can live up to 5 days. So the idea is that you have the swimmers already waiting there for the egg. And this is where we get into the topic of cervical mucus. Jesus. Is this like too much? I feel like, no, this is just helpful. This is just what your body does. So, sorry. I'm sorry. Long story short, cervical mucus is very similar to your body's mucus in general. So when you get congested and you have like sinus drainage, that's mucus. Cervical mucus is what women have. And so I didn't do it last cycle, but this cycle, I'm gonna be trying Mucinex. Mucinex loosens up all mucus. So you can assume what it would do to all of the mucus in your body. Basically, this can help eliminate cervical mucus from blocking the sperm to getting to where it needs to go to make a baby with your egg. That is what I'm implementing this cycle. I've actually heard so many people say that they either accidentally got pregnant while taking Mucinex. I know multiple people that has had that happen to them. Like, they were not trying at all and they accidentally wound up pregnant while taking Mucinex. So if you're watching this and you are not trying to conceive, watch it when you take Mucinex. It might get you into some trouble. I've heard so many people say that they either accidentally got pregnant taking Mucinex or they were trying to conceive and they took Mucinex and it worked literally that cycle. So that is another thing that I will be implementing this cycle. Now I want to go into what I'm using to track my hormones, because that is also a very important topic, because your hormones all work together in a system, and so it is really important to be able to see what they're doing. You don't necessarily have to fully monitor everything. I started monitoring everything because my body is still rebounding from the depot shot, and so I'm just trying to see like if my body is slowly starting to work in the right direction. It is half for doctors if I ever had to go to the point of seeing like a fertility specialist, and partially just for me because it is really interesting to see what's going on. So for me, I use this Mira fertility tracker. It is very similar to the Inido. I got this off of Amazon. It is not the cheapest thing in the world. There's another fertility tracker called the Keg. The Keg does not measure your hormones, it measures your cervical mucus. Personally, I didn't want to shove something up me once a day, especially first thing in the goddamn morning. So I'd rather piss in a cup. However, when you do this, you have to buy wands that go with it, and this does add up really fast. So I definitely understand why most people would go to a keg and just monitor their cervical mucus. For me, this is what is working really well for me. I'm gonna put a little thing up on the screen somewhere showing kind of what the app looks like. You can see that it tracks 4 hormones. It tracks your FSH, your LH, your estrogen, and your progesterone. And all 4 of those are really important when it comes to trying to conceive and seeing how your cycles are working. Long story short, you dip this into your first morning urine. It is just most accurate when you do the same urine every single day. And then you just slide this into the fertility tracker and it reads all of your hormones. It is actually so cool. During this process, I also decided to purchase an Oura ring. I love my Oura ring, not just for tracking my cycles, but also because it tells you so much stuff. If I was trying to conceive and I had to choose only one thing to track my ovulation and all of that, I would not choose the Oura ring just because maybe it's just me, but my basal body temperature, which is another form of tracking your cycles. It is basically, Alexa, how would you describe basal body temperature?
Basal body temperature is defined as the lowest temperature attained by the human body during rest, usually during sleep.
Pretty much. So that's what the Oura ring tracks, is your basal body temperature, and women's BBT, their basal body temperature, shifts with their cycles. So it gets really low during your period and then it will climb as you ovulate. The idea is that you would track your basal body temperature to know when your body is ovulating because it'll do certain things with your temperature. I would pair the Oura ring with an ovulation strip, something like this. During my fertile window, I would definitely be monitoring my BBT while also taking an ovulation strip just to see when your body reaches an LH peak. Ovulation tests show up kind of like a pregnancy test, but they show up like that every single time. So just because you have 2 lines on an ovulation test does not mean that you are ovulating. I mistakenly thought that once upon a time, and I was very, very wrong. The second line has to be as dark or darker than the control line. I'm gonna show you guys an example of what it looks like when you're not ovulating versus when you are ovulating. This is what it looks like when you are not ovulating. When you first look at this, you would think, oh my gosh, all of those are positive. No, they are not. And I mistakenly thought that my first few times taking an ovulation test strip. These are all negative. These are positive. So as you can see, all of these are as dark or darker than the control line. The control line is just the line that shows up every single time. This bottom one goes back to negative. So this is what it looked like when my body ovulated. So if it were up to me and I was just using my Oura ring to track my cycles, I would also be monitoring this with an ovulation test strip, because when you get your positive ovulation strip, that is when you know that it is go time. You are ovulating. When you get a positive ovulation test though, you're not ovulating right then and there. It usually takes like 24 hours or something after your positive test before your body actually releases the egg. And this is another thing that I don't think a lot of people know about, but just because you get a positive ovulation test does not mean that your body actually completes a full ovulation cycle. I thought it did until this last cycle when I was ovulating. You don't fully know until you either see a sustained temperature rise on an Oura ring or when tracking your basal body temperature. You can also track it with a thermometer, but this is probably the most accurate one. If you're using something like a Mira or an Anido and you're watching the actual hormones, your progesterone is supposed to rise and stay elevated after you ovulate. That is what confirms that your body actually released an egg and completed a full ovulation cycle. So this is where I'm like, this is so much more information than anyone I feel like is ever taught, but it is all so important. And even with people who are trying to conceive, like I just don't think a lot of people know about the individual details that could really matter in this process. So that's what I am here for, and I really hope that this video is helpful for you guys. The last thing that I really want to go over is what I'm going to be doing this upcoming cycle. So I've started taking my mirror tests for this cycle. After my period ended, I started testing right away, and I will test until my period starts again. Hopefully it doesn't start again. Last cycle, I was very bad. I started taking pregnancy tests before implantation was even possible, like literally physically impossible. After you ovulate and you are in your 2-week wait, the first 6 days, so I'm sure you guys have also seen me saying like a number and then the letters DPO, that just means days past ovulation. So 6 days past ovulation, 6 DPO. You can't physically get a positive ovulation test until 6 DPO. I started testing at like 3 DPO, even though I fully knew that it was impossible, but I didn't care. In my head, I'm like, I don't care, I'm just gonna test and maybe that'll help it feel like it goes by quicker. And it did quite the opposite. I think this cycle, I'm not going to start testing until like 8 DPO, because 8 DPO is kind of the days where you start to have a higher chance of testing positive. 6 and 7 DPO are pretty rare to get a positive pregnancy test. This cycle, I am going to wait to start testing at least until 8 DPO. Maybe it would be better for me to just wait until I had a missed period, because the amount of time I spent obsessing over all of my tests, which I will show you guys all of the tests that I took during that time period. I would take these tests and stare at them and imagine a faint line. And same thing with the first response, early response, the ones with the 2 lines. Where the line would be positive if you were pregnant, there is like a little indent mark, and that is where the dye would show up if you were pregnant. And for me, I literally see the indent line every single time, and I just assume that I am pregnant, or that is like a very faint early positive test, and it is just not okay. I cannot do it again. So this time around, I am going to be waiting until like probably my missed period, just for my sanity, and I'm only gonna be using first response, early response digital tests. So there's no line eyes, there's none of that. It is either a yes or a no, and we're gonna move on. Why is that so, like, when you see the no, it is so like, damn, okay, it's kind of harsh. And then, as I stated earlier, I will also be trying the Mucinex thing. Who knows if it will actually work, but I really hope that you guys found this video informative, at least. I know that some people hear some of this terminology and think that like it is unnecessary to share it, but since we are not taught about this, you have to learn it from something. And with the platform that I have and the experience that I am going through firsthand, I just feel like it is helpful to not only hear it from someone else that is going through the same thing, because like I stated earlier in the video, this process is very isolating, but also with the platform that I have, which on here, I don't have that many subscribers, but on my other platforms where I also share similar things like Snapchat and TikTok, I'm just hoping that I'm helping out someone that is going through the same process as me. And it is so helpful to watch videos of people experiencing the same things, and it really does build like a community of people, and I love to see it every time. So these are the things that I am implementing and the things that I have learned while trying to conceive. Hopefully this time around I will just be a little bit more chill about the process, maybe freak out a little bit less, and just trust that it will all happen when it is supposed to. So it is just a matter of waiting for your moment to shine. Good luck to everyone who is here trying to conceive, or here trying to just listen to someone else in the same situation as them. And I'm wishing all of you the best of luck. Bye!